Good evening, guys. So we are starting MCSA, Azure and SCCM plus iTunes batch. Okay, so Sahitya sir will take the sessions. Classes will be Monday to Friday, 8 p.m. So Sahitya sir, you can start the session.
Sure. Thank you, Sachin. So can you please confirm if you can see my screen?
Yes, yes, we can see your screen,
Okay,
sir.
okay. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Sahitya, and I have around 8 years of experience in IT industry. So I have been working in multiple MNCs, and I do work on like on-prem environment as well as on cloud environment. And I am a certified Azure administrator and as well as Azure security administrator. So this is all about me. And in couple of days when we are going to start our classes, I'll be introducing myself more about like what and all things I used to do and what and all experience I have gained in the previous company. So based on that, I am going to help you out, right? That how companies used to work, how to configure their environment, how to work in the live time environment. Okay, so all these things we will be discussing in the upcoming lectures. So as it is a demo session, right? So we are just going to talk about that what and all topics and how we are going to continue with these all modules, right? So as Sachin mentioned, we are going to learn MCSA in this batch, and we are going to learn Azure, and then we have SCCM, and then we have Intunes, right? Which are basically widely used in the organizations, right? So 70 to 80% of the organizations are using SCCM in their environment. To work on SCCM, you should be aware of servers. You should be aware of the modules that we are going to cover in MCSA. So it is basically a whole package, right? So MCSA, you can say it as it is a foundation course, right? Which from where you will be able to clear your all concepts. So once you will be able to understand these topics which we are going to cover in MCSA, right? So you will be able to learn other modules also like Azure or your Intunes or then your SCCM. All right. Now, Brijesh, do you have any query? Can you please mute yourself? If you have any query, you can ask.
Okay, sir.
All right. Thank you. So once let me just introduce this course, right? And then if you have any query, you can unmute yourself and you can ask straight away. No problem in that point. All right. Shawaz Hassan, it is going to be like mix of Hindi and English, right? If you are not able to understand something in English, then definitely I'll be explaining in Hindi as well. Okay, so based on your understanding, we will be so see, language is not a bar, right? The thing is, you will be able to understand the things. That's it. All right. MCSA. So guys, first of all, the certificate is no more available with Microsoft, right? Earlier there was a certificate in which you have to pursue the exam for 740, 741 and 742, and then only you will get the global certificate from the Microsoft, right? But now it is no more available with Microsoft, but still you should have the knowledge of all these modules which we are going to cover, we all the topics which we are going to cover in our upcoming lectures. All right. So first of all, what is MCA? That is it stands for Microsoft Certified Solution Associate, right? So if you are going to start your career in IT, or let's say if you are a beginner, or let's say if you are a fresher, right? Then in that case, if you are a developer, then it would be fine, right? No need to learn all these things. Okay, but if you're not a developer, then in that case you have to learn MCSA, you have to learn Linux, you have to learn cloud, right? So for MCSA, it is an entry level. Basically, it is an entry level course like CCNA also. If you want, if you're going through with our phase 1 program, right? Under that program, we are preparing a person so that he will be able to enter into the IT industry, right? If you are taking example of desktop support engineer, system support engineer, systems administrator, right? So for all these job profiles, you should be very handy with these modules. Like you should be handy with the servers, either it is a Linux based server or it is a Microsoft based server, right? Or even if let's say you are working in desktop support profile from last 2 or 3 years, right? And then if you want to upgrade yourself, because see, in case of desktop support, you are not going to get as much exposure on the servers, right? So there would be kind of, very less exposure you are going to get in case of desktop support engineer. Then if you want to upgrade yourself, if you want to upgrade your skills, as well as you want to upgrade, you want to get a good package in industry, then in that case also this course is going to help you out, right? So as I mentioned, the certification was already retired in January 2020, right? But still knowledge remains the same. Still you have to work on the servers, even if you are configuring your servers on cloud also. In that case as well, you should be aware of the operations, that how to operate the servers, how to install the roles and features onto the server, how to manage group policies, how to manage active directory. So knowledge is going to be remain same, only the certification is discontinued. All right. Then, okay, so first of all, it is mentioned here that we are going to configure it on Windows Server 2016, but nowadays we have Windows Server 2022 also. I'm talking about operating system, Windows Server operating system. Obviously, if you want to manage your Windows Server, then you have to install the operating system onto it, right? And there are multiple flavor of operating system which is introduced by the Microsoft, which is 2016, 2019, and then we have Windows Server 2022 is the latest version of the operating system. So we are going to work on Windows Server 2022, right? So this module was based on 2016, but now I will upgrade it and we are going to work on the Windows Server 2022, right? Then if let's say you want to work on the operating system, right? So how you are going to create the operating system, how you are going to manage the operating system, right? So for that we are going to use virtualization technology, VT, widely used again in the organization. अगर किसी ने सुना है VMware, Hyper-V, है ना? So all these things are being used by the organizations. Why? Because वो क्या करते हैं ना, एक अच्छा compute power का server procure कर लेते हैं, एक हार्डवेयर यू कैन से, है ना? जैसे आप डेस्कटॉप खरीदते हो, आप लैपटॉप खरीदते हो, ऐसे अगर कंपनी को अपने फीचर्स बिल्ड करना है, लेट्स से उसको अपनी एक्टिव डायरेक्टरी डोमेन कंट्रोलर बिल्ड करना है, सो व्हाट कंपनी विल डू, दे विल जस्ट बाय अ गुड हार्डवेयर जिसके अंदर कंप्यूट पावर बहुत अच्छा होगा, like 128 GB of RAM or 256 GB of RAM, and then same they good hard disk also, right? So if they are buying that hardware, let's say, let me draw a diagram. Okay, and what and all topics we are going to cover? First of all, we are going to understand it with the help of diagram, like how it is going to work. Okay, so first of all, we are going to clear our concept, and then only we are going to move for the lab, like practicals, right? Now, let's say I procured a server which has around 256 GB of RAM and let's say 1 petabyte of hard disk. So अब कंपनी ने क्या किया, कंपनी ने एक सर्वर खरीद लिया, राइट? तो पहले क्या होता था, एक हार्डवेयर पे आप एक ही ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम यूज कर पाते थे, मतलब मैं इस सर्वर को सिर्फ एक ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम इसमें इंस्टॉल कर सकता हूं, राइट? But nowadays, as we have virtualization technology, जैसे VMware है आपके पास, Hyper-V है, VirtualBox है. So what you will do, you are going to install VMware or Hyper-V or let's say um, um, VirtualBox onto the server. After installing this tool, you are going to build multiple virtual machine. Let me show you. So in my case, I have VMware and even I have Hyper-V also. See. So what I did on this Windows 10 operating system, I installed VMware, and on VMware, I have created multiple virtual machines. And to run these virtual machine also, guys, we will be needing the same compute power. Like you will be needing the CPU, you will be needing hard disk, you will be needing RAM, right? So from there, from where they are going to consume it? They are going to consume it from the base system, right? So if I want to create multiple virtual machine like this, which I created on VMware onto the server, first of all, I'm going to install a hypervisor onto it. It can be VMware, it can be Hyper-V. And after installing it, then I'm going to create the virtual machines, multiple VMs onto it. It can be like 10, 20, dependent upon what is the compute power you're using. Based on the compute power, you can create as many as virtual machines onto this server. So this is the like beauty of this virtualization tool, that you have to just get one server, a good compute power server, and then onto top of it you can install hypervisor, and on that hypervisor you can create multiple virtual machine depending upon your requirement. अब ये जितनी virtual machines बनी है, इनका अलग अलग ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम होगा, सबका अलग ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम होगा. All of these virtual machines are going to have their own operating system. They are not going to use the operating system of your base server. They will be having their own identity. Right? Now, what is the benefit of using this virtualization? अब देखो, अगर मैं ये गुड कंप्यूट पावर ना लेके मैं अलग से सर्वर सिक्योर प्रोक्योर करता हूँ, राइट? लेट्स से वन. So let's say I procured these 5 hardware. ठीक है, सबसे पहले तो मैंने प्रोक्योर किया 5 हार्डवेयर, राइट? उसके बाद आई विल बी नीडिंग द एनवायरमेंट आल्सो टू मैनेज दीज 5 सर्वर्स, राइट? मुझे एक रैक खरीदना पड़ेगा, राइट? ऑन टू दिस रैक आई एम गोइंग टू माउंट दीज सर्वर्स, राइट? आई विल बी नीडिंग द पावर बैकअप आल्सो, right? I will be needing connectivity also, internet connectivity also. And as I'm going to run 5 servers, so in that case I have to arrange the air conditioning as well environment में, ताकि क्योंकि they are going to produce a lot of heat, right? So for that, what we can do, we can just get one hardware, a good hardware, a good compute power, and then on to top of it we can create multiple virtual machines, and then we can install whatever we want here. We can make this virtual machine as a file server, we can make this virtual machine as a domain controller, we can make this server as a WSUS server, whatever like feature you want to install, you can do it. So this is the benefit of using virtualization. So in our labs also, in our practicals also, we are using this, we are going to use this tool, and then whatever the features we have to configure, so we will configure it one by one onto this virtual machine. Same way, let me give you example of Hyper-V also. So this is Hyper-V tool, right? So whenever you are going to get a Windows server, right, Hyper-V is by default available onto it. And also it is available in Windows 10 or Windows 11, right? So if you are going to have Windows 10 Pro or Windows 11 Pro in your laptop, then in that case, Hyper-V is by default available in the laptop also. You have to just enable it and then you can get it in your own laptop. All right. So these are the virtual machines that I have created on Hyper-V. These are the virtual machines. So these VMs I'm already using in my previous batches and in my current batch as well. I'm using these virtual machines. Right. Now, let's go to that PPT. As I told, there were 3 exams earlier. If you want to get a global certificate, in that case, you have to go through with the 3 exams. You have to clear these 3 exams, then only earlier you were be able to get the certificate, global certificate from Microsoft. But nowadays, as I told, it is not available, right? Certification is not available, but all these things you are going to configure in the environment. You are going to see in the environment, right? Might be if you are already from the IT industry, then you can relate it. All right. So the topics that we are going to cover in this module, okay. First of all, Active Directory domain services. Domain controller, the backbone of the organization. Active Directory. In order to build a Active Directory, you have to create the domain controller, DC. And there are multiple types of domain controller, which is primary domain, additional domain, read-only domain, and then child domain controller. So in our lab, we are going to configure all 4 of them. All right. Then you have DNS. Again, the major topic. How DNS works. आप अपने ब्राउजर पे जाते हो और ब्राउजर पे आप कुछ भी टाइप करते हो. Let's say live.nwkings, for example. Right. So how you are able to get the result? How it is getting done? How it is loading the resources related to live.nwkings? This is all because of DNS. So in the back end, my query is getting resolved from name to IP because computer क्या समझता है 0 or 1, right? Then how we will be able to get the result with the help of name also? Because on the back end, our DNS server is resolving our queries from name to IP and IP to name, vice versa. That is why you are able to load your resources. Then in our lab, how to configure DNS, what and all DNS records you can create, how to work with the DNS server, how queries getting resolved, what is forward lookup zone, what is reverse lookup zone, what are forwarders, what are conditional forwarders, what are root hints. So all these things we will be covering in the DNS topic. Right? Then we have.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, sir. I am Jitendra from Odisha.
Yeah, hi, Jitendra.
Yes, sir. I am working as a server installation in Carvey Notec Limited as a server engineer.
Okay.
So, can I choose this course, sir?
So, what kind of profile you are working on right now? What and all your jobs and responsibilities are?
My responsibility is on server installation and Dell PowerEdge, and then I have a client engineers to tech support.
Okay. So, have you ever worked on the group policies?
No, sir. Only server installation.
Only installation.
Yeah. Only hardware installation or.
Yes. Then this course is for you only.
Sir,
because you are already managing it, right? And you can tell your manager that you have the knowledge, you know how to configure the servers, right? You know how to use the features like WDS, WSUS, file server, failover file server, web server, how to host a website. So this is the best course for you, even if you are already working on this field,
sir.
right? So this is what I mentioned initially. If you are already working as a desktop support, as a tech
Yeah.
support,
Yes,
right,
sir.
then this course is meant for you only. Even you will
Yes.
be able to, this is going to uh, give a good hike in your job also, in your
नहीं, मैं
package
थोड़ा
also.
सर, थोड़ा मैं ये हो जाता हूँ कि सीसीएनए करूँ या एमसीएसए करूँ। और जब भी इंटरव्यू होता है, कोई भी कॉल आता है, तो वो बोल रहे हैं नेटवर्किंग और सर्वर डेस्कटॉप ऑल थिंग।
वो बोलते सब कुछ है, ठीक है, बट दैट
सर
डजंट मीन कि आपको प्रॉपर सब कुछ करने की जरूरत है, राइट? फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल चूज योर इंटरेस्ट, आपको इंटरेस्ट कहाँ पे आ रहा है,
नहीं नहीं, मुझे तो सर सर्वर लाइन पे ही इंटरेस्ट है।
राइट? सो यू हैव द नॉलेज ऑफ नेटवर्क ऑल्सो, सीसीएनए का नॉलेज है आपको?
नो 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 सर, नो सर। ओनली
ओके।
जस्ट केबलिंग, शेयरिंग, दिस इज ओनली। और कुछ नहीं है मेरे पास। वही शेयरिंग वगैरह, लैन वगैरह वही जानता हूँ, आईपी एड्रेस
एंड
क्रिएट
हाउ
करना
मेनी
वही।
इयर्स ऑफ एक्सपीरियंस यू हैव?
सर 8 years आज।
8 years.
ये सर।
Okay, okay, okay. Then I would suggest you to go for this course, right? And along with it, you can go for SCCM and Intunes.
ओके सर।
Okay, just make your profile in the server administration only, because
सर
already you have 8 years of experience. If you might be having the experience of 2 years, then I'm going to suggest you for CCN and all, right? As you're already working and you have 8 years of experience, then you should go for this one, and then you can go for the cloud computing and the SCCM. So just make your career in the server administrations only.
ओके सर।
Okay?
सर
Yeah.
ओके सर, कंटिन्यू, थैंक यू।
Yeah. Thank you. All right. Then in Active Directory, how to create the user's account? See, guys, what is Active Directory? Active Directory is basically the contact book of the organization. जैसे आपकी फोन बुक होती है, फोन में आप क्या करते हो, आप अपने फ्रेंड्स का नंबर सेव करके रखते हो, राइट? So same way, if I need to save the information of my users, of my computers, then in that case, I am going to configure the AD, Active Directory. So in Active Directory, we have to create the object. मतलब AD में आप जो भी काम करते हो, that is in the form of object. If I'm creating a user, it will be called as an object. If I'm joining a system onto my domain, it will be an object from my Active Directory. So how to manage those objects? How to manage the group policy onto those objects? जैसे I don't want the users will not be like, I want the users will not be able to access pen drive on the systems of my organization, right? Or let's say I want to install one software onto one laptop without taking that laptop on remote. So what I can do, I can apply the group policies. I can do this thing through the group policies, right? So we have multiple examples of configuring the group policy. So we will be covering in this whole module that how to apply a group, how to create a group GPO template, how to apply them onto the users, right? How to apply them onto the computers, how to apply them onto the groups. So all these things we will be covering in this. Okay, let me just give you the idea of Active Directory, right? So I already have a server onto it. Domain controller is like, it is already a domain controller, primary domain controller. Let me show you how it looks like. So this is checkpoint, how to create the checkpoints and all, right? How to restore the server state. All these things we will be covering. All right. For now, let me just start this server and let me connect to it. As I told, there are multiple types of domain controller. So first of all, initially, whenever I'm going to start with the Active Directory, or let's say if I need to start a organization, right? So first of all, I am going to build a primary domain controller. सबसे पहले प्राइमरी डोमेन कंट्रोलर कॉन्फ़िगर होगा, उसके बाद आप चाहे जितने मर्जी चाइल्ड डोमेन बना सकते हो, आप जितने मर्जी ट्री डोमेन्स बना सकते हो. इट डिपेंड्स ऑन योर रिक्वायरमेंट. जैसे एक कंपनी है, लेट्स से नेटवर्किंग का एग्जांपल ले लेते हैं, राइट? सो नेटवर्किंग, लेट्स से इट इज द कॉर्पोरेट ऑफिस ऑफ नेटवर्किंग इज इन, लेट्स से यूएस में है, ठीक है, बट अब मेरी कंपनी वर्ल्ड वाइड अवेलेबल है, इंडिया में भी है, ऑस्ट्रेलिया में भी है, इंडिया में बहुत सारे लोकेशंस पे है, राइट? सो ऑन टू ऑल दोज लोकेशंस आई कैन पुट द डोमेन कंट्रोलर्स, ट्री डोमेन्स बना सकता हूं मैं वहां पर, है ना? तो ये और कॉन्सेप्ट है, ये आने वाले लेक्चर्स में सीखेंगे, है ना? अभी के लिए लेट मी जस्ट कनेक्ट दिस सर्वर. So there are multiple examples of group policies, guys. Like I just mentioned 2 or 3 only, but there are multiple templates available, right? Even once your system is going to be in the domain, अब जब भी कोई आपका यूजर ज्वाइन करता है, कोई एम्प्लॉय आपकी कंपनी को ज्वाइन करता है, राइट? सो व्हाट एंड ऑल योर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज आर, सबसे पहले आपको उसका यूजर अकाउंट क्रिएट करना होगा, राइट? एंड देन यू हैव टू कॉन्फ़िगर अ लैपटॉप फॉर हिम, and then that laptop should be the part of the organization, means it should be the part of your domain. All right, so this is my domain controller. Let me log in onto it. So nk is my domain. All right, and I'm logging in with the domain administrator right now. All right, meanwhile it is getting logged in, let's discuss other things. Okay, GPO, and then we have backup. Again, major topic, guys, how to take the backups of the server, even in case of your uh, domain controller, as well as, let's say you have configured something, you have configured like file server onto your server, and if let's say there is something wrong with the operating system and that operating system is crashed, so how to get your services back, how to get your data back, right? So for that we can use the Windows internal backup option. Windows का अपना एक backup feature होता है that can be configured onto the server, and then whenever you want you can restore it. ठीक है, वैसे तो कंपनीज like they have third party tools also, जैसे Veeam backup होता है, right? They can use third party tool as well, but Microsoft also has its internal backup feature that can be configured, and you can configure the schedule also, that if let's say you want that every 9 o'clock, or let's say in the midnight 12, it should take the backup of all the things which is configured onto the server. You can configure a schedule also. At particular given point of time, automatically it is going to create a schedule. It is going to create, sorry, it is going to create a backup copy of the or of the data, right? Then we have certificate services, ADCS. So guys, in order to build the authentication secured, अब just take the example of websites only, है ना? तो website, how to access the website? Okay, so if you want to access a website, in on which port number it works? Anybody? On which port websites work, web server works?
HTTPS.
Port number
443.
443.
443, right? So how it is getting configured, how it is making sure that the traffic between you and that website is totally encrypted? It is all because of the certificate, है ना? तो अभी मैं देखो, अगर मैंने ये live.nwkings access किया, right? So if I'll go to this and I'll go to connection is secure, it is saying connection is secured. How it is secured? I'll go to connection is secure, and then you can see certificate is valid, because networking bought a certificate. That is why it is making sure that whatever the data you are transferring from your system to this website, it is totally encrypted. Encryption लगा हुआ है वहां पर. और ये algorithm SHA-256 fingerprint, this is the algorithm, this is the cryptography which is actually working in the back end. Right? So how to make it, all these things we are going to cover it in the certificate topics, Active Directory certificate topics. है ना? अगर पोर्ट 443 पे जा रहा है, then only it is going to make your traffic secured. अगर पोर्ट 80 पे कर रहे हो, that is HTTP, है ना? उस केस में the traffic will be in the plain text. कोई भी आपका कोई भी आपका hacker check कर सकता है that what and all you are doing with that particular website and all. Okay, so to build this is just for example, this is the example of websites, but in order to make the authentication of the server and client, right, you can configure the certificate. Because let's say if I'm working from my home and I want to connect the server, connect my office server, then also I have to make sure the traffic between me and my office, it should be encrypted. It should not be in the plain text. तो वो मैं कैसे करूंगा? I am going to configure the certificate at client and server level. All right. Then, okay, DNS server. Then we have network access also. Like you want to configure the VPN, you want to configure network policy, you want to configure radius server. So all these things we are going to cover in this topic, in this module basically. And then file and print services, how to make a file server, how to make a failover file server. If let's say my file server is down, then how the users will be able to store the data, or how the users will be able to get the data from my file server. So in that case, I have to configure the failover file server, right? Then how to configure FTP, file transfer protocol, how to configure SFTP. Okay, distributed file system. If let's say your file is available on multiple servers, then how you can collate under a single path. देखो, अगर मल्टीपल फिजिकल सर्वर्स पे अवेलेबल है तो आपको वन बाय वन हर एक सर्वर पे जाना पड़ेगा. If let's say it is network shared also, then in that case also you have to access that network share one by one. बट मैं कह रहा हूं कि मैं सिर्फ एक सिंगल नेम के साथ वो सारे सर्वर्स का डेटा कलेक्ट करके ला सकता हूं. दैट वी कैन डू फ्रॉम द डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड फाइल सिस्टम, DFS. तो यूजर जो होगा वो सिंगल DFS एक्सेस करेगा, and he will be able to get the data which is physically available on multiple server. He will be able to get it under a single namespace only, right? Then we have disk quota also. If let's say you want to apply the disk quota, you want the users will only be able to store 200 MB on your file server. This is just for example. Let's say I have 1 TB space available, but still I want the users will be able to store 200 MB only. They will be able to use 200 MB only, right? So in that case, I'm going to configure the disk quota. Then how to configure the print server, right? No doubt there is like we have the latest version of print servers nowadays, right? We can get the web console of the print server and then we can configure it. हर एक printer का अपना एक web console available है आज के time में, but still if let's say it is not available with you in आपके if in your organization you don't have that latest version of printer, then in that case you can configure it with the help of print services, print server. Okay, and then with the help of browser you will be able to manage your printer, right?
So what is shadow copy?
Shadow copy. Okay, shadow copy is basically let's say I have created some data onto my server. Let's say it is a 2 GB data I have created, right? Someone accidentally deleted that data, right? Obviously I will not be able to get it back, right? But at the same time, if I am going to configure shadow copy for that particular data, it is going to create a copy of data that whenever if the data is going to be deleted, I will be able to recover it. I will be able to restore it. You want to show practically? Let me show you. Let me show you. If you want to see practically, give me a moment. Okay, then we have WSUS server. Again, the major part, guys. It is the major responsibility of a system administrator or a server administrator to make your infra, to make your devices up to date. Up to date का मतलब कि Microsoft patches release करता है. Every second Tuesday, Microsoft used to release their latest patches, right? And it is our responsibility to deploy the patches into our laptops, onto our servers, everything. It is our responsibility, right? So how to deploy them, how to manage them, how to get the patches from the Microsoft, how you can deploy, all these things we are going to cover in the WSUS topic, right? No doubt companies are using SCCM nowadays, right? There is software center configuration manager through which you can deploy the patches, but in the back end of the SCCM also WSUS works. WSUS, WSUS feature works actually. Okay, then how to do all these things we are going to cover in the WSUS topic. Then we have deploy server. Again, a major topic, guys, that is called Windows deployment services, right? So in order to install the operating system on the laptops, right? How to install it? You are going to install it with the help of a network, Pixie boot, if you have heard about. किसी ने सुना है PXC?
Yes. Network boot server.
Exactly. So how to deploy operating system onto them, right? After deploying, how to get the operating system onto a new laptop. So we are going to cover in the WDS topic. Or let's say after building the operating system, even let's say I have installed the operating system onto the laptop and I want that laptop should get a unique name. जैसे हर एक कंपनी का अपना एक nomenclature होता है, right? वो अपने devices का नाम को लगाते हैं, है ना? So same way, if you want to assign a unique name, or you want that that system should be the part of your domain, automatically we can do it with the help of WDS. And one more thing, nowadays companies are using SCCM to deploy the operating system onto their laptops. ठीक है? But again, SCCM के बैकग्राउंड में भी WDS सर्विस काम करती है. मतलब काम वही हो रहा है, बट कंसोल अब चेंज हो गया. SCCM में there would be a different console in SCCM to manage the deployment server or your patching process. But in the backend, actually these services are running. WDS service is running, or you can say your WSUS service is running.
So the SCCM is a cloud service or the on-premises service?
On premises. Cloud services Intunes.
Okay, Intunes.
Exactly. If you want to build if you don't want to build the servers, right? You just want the console, that's it. Then in that case, you can go for Intunes. And companies are moving to Intunes also nowadays. So it is basically a complete package, like what I mentioned initially, that MCSA, SCCM, and your Intunes, and then cloud, Azure or AWS, whatever you want to learn, it is your choice. But this is the whole package for our profile, for system administration profile. Even this is what I have gone through with. I also worked as a desktop support initially, right? But as I started, like I never stopped my learning. I just used to learn new technologies like SCCM, and then your cloud, and then the Intunes, Office 365, right? So these things are are definitely going to help you out in order to grow your career as well as your package and all right. Then we have web services, guys.
Yes,
How
sir.
to make, just a second, how to configure, how to host a website. आप लोग वेबसाइट एक्सेस करते हो, facebook.com, Instagram, networkings. Actually, they are hosted on a server only, right? And in order to host that website, we have to install IIS services, Internet Information Services, right? And then you can make your website, you can configure your website, and then the end users will be able to access the website. All right. Then FTP and all these things I have already discussed, we are going to cover, right? So this is just, I have prepared one Excel sheet as well. Over there I mentioned what and all topics we are going to cover. So if something is not mentioned here, then in that case it would be available in this Excel sheet also. So this is basically, I used to track everything inside this Excel sheet. I used to track everything, that what and all topics we have covered. So see, introduction of MCSA, then types of DCs, primary domain, additional domain, CDC, RODC, Active Directory, domain and OU delegation. So see, what and all these topics are, these are totally based on the real-time experience. These are totally based on the real time, that these are totally only, like, all these things you have to work in the organization. All right. Then see, group policies, AD administrative center, DHCP failover, DHCP relay agent, FTP, then you have FTP web server, network load balancing cluster. देखो, अब जैसे आपने web server configure कर दिया, right? You have hosted your website, and now let's say there are number of users are hitting your website, right? तो एक पॉइंट पे ऐसा होगा कि वो सर्वर रिस्पोंड करना बंद कर देगा, क्योंकि उसका अपने कंप्यूट पावर है, राइट? बेस्ड ऑन दैट ओनली इट इज गोइंग टू रिस्पोंड, बेस्ड ऑन दैट ओनली इट इज गोइंग टू, लाइक, इट विल बी, इट इज गोइंग टू रिस्पोंड द रिक्वेस्ट ऑफ द यूजर्स, ठीक है? बट आप चाहते हो नेटवर्क लोड बैलेंसिंग कॉन्फ़िगर करना आपकी वेबसाइट के लिए, कि लेट्स से इफ वन सर्वर इज ऑलरेडी ओवरलोडेड, देन ऑटोमेटिकली द लोड विल बी ट्रांसफर टू द सेकंड सर्वर। तो क्या करेगा, आपका जो सर्वर, दूसरा सर्वर होगा, वो उसका लोड लेना शुरू कर देगा, वो दोनों लोड शेयर कर लेंगे, एंड देन यू विल बी एबल टू access the website without any, issue. You will be able to access it, right? जितने भी ये बड़ी OTT applications हैं, right? They used to configure load balancing. So load balancing you can configure on your on-prem environment as well as in cloud also. There is a separate service available in Azure where you can configure the load balancer. All right. Then you have profile and folder redirection, right? Then type of trust, network address translation, file and print services, VPN with NPS, VPN with radius server, remote desktop services, data deduplication, BitLocker, file server resource manager, FSRM, storage, in which we are going to discuss about SAN, NAS, right? iSCSI disk partitions, right? So all these things we will be covering in the storage topic. Then we have FSMO roles. FSMO roles, Hamisha, whenever you are going to go for the interview of the system administrator, definitely the interviewer is going to ask you for what is FSMO rules, right? Flexible single master operation. So we will cover it. Then shadow copies, ये भी मैं दिखाऊंगा भी आपको how it works. Then we have DFS, replication and namespace. Then we have WSUS, FSMO role, seize and transfer, AD migration or upgradation. If let's say your Active Directory is on 2012, might be you have heard Microsoft already stopped their support for 2012 and 2012 R2 in December 2023. They have stopped the support for 2012 R2, right? Now let's say your company wants to upgrade their servers to from 2012 to 2019. So how that upgradation process will work, so we are going to cover in the upgradation and migration topic. Then we have ADFS, that is single sign on, है ना. आप लोग अपनी कंपनी की ईमेल अकाउंट से you are able to access multiple portals like ADP, Workday, multiple portals are there, Jira. You are able to access it with your company email account. So that is all because of single sign on, SSO. And that is all because of ADFS, Active Directory Federation Services. Right? So we are going to talk about then backup and restore, how to take the backups, how to restore it later on. Then WDS RAID configuration, RAID also. It is the part of storage, that how to configure the RAID. There are multiple types of RAID, RAID 0, RAID 1, RAID 5, RAID 1 plus 0, RAID 6, right? So we will cover in the RAID topic. Then we have AD sites and services, install from media, IPAM, failover and file server. Then DNS, forest and domain function level, NIC teaming, PowerShell also. PowerShell also, how to make a server, a core server basically. Through PowerShell, how you can make that core server as a primary domain, or let's say you want to install the DHCP feature onto it, right? You want to create the user account with the help of PowerShell command. So I'm going to show you in the PowerShell topic. And then we have last but not the least, that is Windows Admin Center. Right? So these are the topics we are going to cover in MCSA. All right. And then I was talking about SCCM also. Right? So in SCCM, we are going to cover 15 modules. And that is also totally based on the real-time scenario. All right. Nowadays it is called as MECM, that is Microsoft Endpoint Configuration Manager, but still उसको लोग अभी भी SCCM बोल देते हैं, Software Center Configuration Manager, but real उसका जो name है, Microsoft has changed it to the MECM. All right, let me show you the MECM topics also. And even what and all topics I have covered, right? I showed you. For that I have already prepared all the PPTs, right? And based on these topics, what and all can be the interview questions, that also I'm going to provide you. All right. And even networking team, they are going to help you out with the help of, like, they are going to help you out with the creation of your CVs also. That if let's say you want to apply for some job, then in that case for a server administrator, how to build the CV, what and all things you can add after learning these all modules, what and all things you can add in your CV, right? So for all these things, networking team also will going to help you out. All right. Now SCCM, Software Center Configuration Manager, or as I told, it is now MECM, Microsoft Endpoint Configuration Manager. Okay, so it is of 15 modules, 15 to 16 modules we are going to cover. Okay, so इसमें whenever you are going to start, whenever you are going to build a SCCM environment, right, you have to build 3 servers initially, right? One is going to be the primary site server. Primary site server पे आप आपका SCCM configure करोगे, right? Second is going to be the database server, where actually the database of SCCM is going to be reside, right? And third one is going to be the domain controller, DC. अब देखो, अगर मैं यहीं से बिना आपको MCSA कराए ये डोमेन कंट्रोलर कराना यहाँ पे स्टार्ट कर दूं, so you will get confused of that how it is working. मैं सीधा यहाँ पे ग्रुप पॉलिसीज अप्लाई कर दूं, you will totally get confused on that part. So that is why MCA is the foundation. ठीक है, यहां से आपको डोमेन कंट्रोलर, यहां से आपको ग्रुप पॉलिसी समझ आ गई, तो ऑटोमेटिकली यू विल बी एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड इट इन SCCM आल्सो, आपको क्योंकि कंसेप्ट क्लियर हो गया है ना. ऑल राइट, सो वी हैव मॉड्यूल 1 अंडर विच वी आर गोइंग टू टॉक अबाउट SCCM बनता क्या है क्या, क्यों यूज होता है, राइट? एज आई टोल्ड देयर आर मल्टीपल फीचर्स ऑफ it a basically a bundle of features are available in SCCM or MECM, right? So in SCCM, you have to configure primary site, central site, primary site, and secondary site. So 3 sites we can configure. Okay, so all these things I will let you know in the topic itself, in the class itself, what and all primary site is, what is central site, what is secondary site. But initially we are going to configure the primary site. right? A primary site can manage around 1,50,000 devices. मतलब आप 1,50,000 devices को manage कर सकते हो. You can deploy the you can deploy the patches for 1,50,000 devices. ठीक है, तो एक प्राइमरी साइट 1,50,000 और सेकेंडरी साइट कैन मैनेज 15,000 डिवाइसेस. तो बताऊंगा ये क्या होता है, व्हाई इट इज बीइंग यूज्ड, सो आई विल लेट यू नो. बट इनिशियली आपको सबसे पहले प्राइमरी साइट बिल्ड करना पड़ेगा. इवन यू कैन बिल्ड सेंट्रल साइट ऑल्सो, बट जो मैंडेटरी है, दीज आर ऑप्शनल. सेंट्रल एंड सेकेंडरी इज ऑप्शनल, बट प्राइमरी इज मैंडेटरी. यू हैव टू कॉन्फ़िगर प्राइमरी साइट फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल. ठीक है, नाउ how to deploy the primary site. There are multiple things we have to configure. We have to make a Active Directory schema. We have to make a SQL database server, right? So all how to build it. See guys, in process, like installation only will going to take around 2 to 3 days, or you can say it will take around 5 to 6 hours. If you want to build a primary site, then in that case it will take around 5 to 6 hours. ठीक है, सो हम इसको स्टेप बाय स्टेप परफॉर्म करेंगे एंड देन once we are going to have our primary site, and then we are going to use it in order to manage our devices basically. ठीक है, जैसे नाम ही बोल रहा है माइक्रोसॉफ्ट एंड पॉइंट कॉन्फ़िगरेशन मैनेजर, that means you can manage the end devices with the help of console, right? Then discovering and organizing resources. Once you have built the primary site, तो प्राइमरी साइट बनाने के बाद हाउ यू विल बी एबल टू गेट द डिवाइसेस, हाउ यू विल बी एबल टू गेट द यूजर्स इंफॉर्मेशन फ्रॉम योर एक्टिव डायरेक्टरी. So in that case we have to work with the discovering of the devices, users, groups and all. How it works, there are multiple types of queries: direct direct query based membership, right? Direct rule method. Multiple methods are there. So we are going to talk about how to make the device collection. Like you want to create a collection for Windows 10, for Windows 11, right? You want to create separate collection. In that case, how to make it. So all these things we will be covering in the module 3. Then we have module 4, managing and configuration of manager client. See guys, in order to manage the devices, in order to manage the laptop. Acha, if you are working in the organization, you have your laptop with you right now. Can you confirm please? Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So can you check if you have software center installed in the laptop?
Yes.
It is there. Just search
Soft
for software center.
Okay, sir. Check that.
Or you can search for company portal also. Okay guys, why I'm asking is basically if you have software center or company portal in your laptops, then your company is using SCCM and Intunes both. Okay, so how to install that agent. अब वो सॉफ्टवेयर सेंटर, वो कॉन्फ़िगरेशन मैनेज एजेंट होना जरूरी है हर एक लैपटॉप्स पे, देन ओनली यू विल बी एबल टू गेट द इंफॉर्मेशन ऑफ योर डिवाइस. ठीक है, तो हाउ टू install the client onto the devices, we will be covering in this module. All right, then we have inventory and software metering. अब let's say आपको अपने डिवाइसेस की इन्वेंटरी की लिस्ट चाहिए, that what and all hard disk is available, free space is available, what is the like CPU, what is the make, vendor कौन सा है लैपटॉप का, all these information you want, then in that case we can get it with the help of software center, and we can get the inventory. You can get the inventory of the software also. Like if you want from 50 laptops, let's say you want to check that what and all softwares are installed. कई बार यूजर स्मार्ट होते हैं, क्या करते हैं, कुछ भी थर्ड पार्टी टूल इंस्टॉल कर लेते हैं, क्रैक वर्जन इंस्टॉल कर लेते हैं, right? In that case you want to check that what and all software is installed, right? So we can do it with the help of managing inventory, and you can do software metering else also. अब let's say मेरा मैनेजर चाहता है that he wants to get the report of a particular software कि एक particular user उस software को कितनी देर के लिए यूज करता है, क्योंकि देखो in organization always you are going to have the licensed software, and you have to get, let's say you want to get the report that for how long users are using that particular licensed software. We can get it with the help of software metering. पूरा ट्रैक कर सकता हूं मैं, पूरा ट्रैक कर सकता हूं मैं यूजर की रिक्वायरमेंट एंड यूजर की लाइक एक्टिविटीज in for that particular software. Okay, then we have module 6, querying and reporting data. As I told, we are going to make a SQL server. So how to extract the data from SQL server? In that case you have to write down the SQL queries, है ना? मैं एक रिपोर्ट जनरेट करना चाहता हूँ 50,000 डिवाइसेस की, that how much free disk space is available onto those devices. I can do it with the help of SQL query. This is just a small example I have given you guys, right? It can be anything based on our requirement. We can write down our queries and we can prepare a report and we can present it to our management. All right. Even you can configure the subscription of your report. Let's say you want automatically you want to generate a report after 1 month. That also can be done. We can create a subscription. Automatically it will going to generate a report after 1 month. Okay, so all these things we will be covering, and then we have software deployment by using application and package model. Again, the major thing is to deploy the softwares in the organization. अब वो काम नहीं है कि आपको यूजर के सिस्टम पे जाना है और सॉफ्टवेयर इंस्टॉल करना है. नो, you can do this thing from the remote directly, right? You can deploy the package from your SCCM console to 10,000 of your devices. वहां से यूजर जाएंगे, अपने आप उसको इंस्टॉल कर लेंगे, right? So there are multiple methods, application packaging method also, and there is a direct method. So we will be covering both the methods. All right, and then we can get the we can get the report of the systems also which are not installed with that particular package. You can get that as well. Okay, बस आपको सोचना है, definitely you will be get it under this tool. All right, then we have software updates, वो patching, WSUS, which I was talking about, right? So in order to deploy the patches, you can do it with the help of SCCM. All right, then we have operating system deployment, OSD, which is WDS, which we have discussed in MCSA. So how to deploy the operating system, and along with that operating system you want to install some common softwares also, right? That also can be done with the help of operating system deployment, right? Then we have module 10 10, under which you will be able to manage the Windows Defender, your by default the antivirus is there, right? Windows Defender. So how to manage, how to run the scan, how to create the scan for 10,000 of devices, right? You can do it directly with the help of SCCM. Okay, then managing compliance settings and profile. If you want to see whether what and all your systems are compliant, right? Let's say you have installed the security update for December month, right? And some of the systems are not installed with that particular update. Then in that case, you are going to create a compliant report that if the systems are installed with the December update, then it is going to be compliant. If it is not installed, then it will be non-compliant, and it is going to show you the result of the systems, and automatically you can do the remediation also, auto remediation. If let's say it founds that if some of the systems are vulnerable, or some of the systems are not installed with that particular update, you can do the auto update also. As soon as it is going to find the system is non-compliant, automatically after installing that particular update, it will make the system as compliant. ये सिर्फ मैंने आपको इन केस ऑफ पैचेस के लिए बताया, राइट? ऐसे ही आप कोई सॉफ्टवेयर के लिए करना चाहते हो, लेट्स से कोई रजिस्ट्री सेटिंग किसी ने चेंज कर दिया, यू वांट टू गेट the report of the system. If the systems are with this particular registry setting, it is going to be compliant. If it is not going to have that particular setting, then it will be non compliant, है ना? So ये बहुत सारे तरीके से you can configure the compliance settings. So this we are going to discuss in the real time lab. All right, then we have MDM, Intunes, mobile device management, right? So for all these modules, we have to build 3 servers. हमें 3 servers बनाने, but in case of MDM, MDM also has the full capacity to manage all these things. जो चीज आप SCCM के थ्रू कर रहे हो, these things can be managed through MDM also. ठीक है, but MDM is basically अभी के लिए थोड़ा महंगा ऑप्शन है ये भी कंपनीज के लिए, because it is a licensed based tool. You have to procure the license for MDM. All right, so as compared to SCCM is like much, बहुत ज्यादा cost है, is much costlier than SCCM. All right, so but still in our topic, in our SCCM module, I am going to cover that how to enroll the devices. So we are going to use the free version of Intunes, under which we will be getting 250 licenses. So how to get all these things, how to get the licenses free? So it will be valid for the 90 days. Okay, those 250 license are going to be valid for 90 days. Okay, then you have power management and remote control. With the help of SCCM, guys, you can take any system on remote. All right, you can manage their power management also. Okay, then you have site maintenance. If let's basically disaster recovery, DR. If let's say your SCCM server is down, or let's say there is a hardware issue in the SCCM server, you are not able to troubleshoot the issue, then in that case, अब ये तो नहीं है ना कि आप दोबारा से फिर से प्राइमरी साइट बनाओगे, जीरो से कॉन्फ़िगर करोगे. No, if you have the backup of your primary site, it can be restored onto another server also. So how to use it, I will let you know in the 14th module. And then we have secondary site. As I told, central and secondary is totally optional, but why it is being used, I will let you know. And even I will let you know in practically as well that how secondary sites work, and how with the help of secondary site you will be able to deploy the applications or policies to the devices of your organization. So these 15 modules we will be covering in this whole SCCM batch, SCCM module. Now, if you have any query, you can unmute yourself and you can ask.
So what is the difference between data duplication and shadow copy?
Data deduplication. Okay, there's a major difference. Data deduplication is going to check the duplicate data. Okay, let's say on my hard disk, same type of data is available on multiple locations. ठीक है, एक हार्ड डिस्क के अंदर आई लेट्स से आई हैव मल्टीपल फोल्डर्स एंड द सेम डेटा इज अवेलेबल ऑन द मल्टीपल फोल्डर्स, सो unnecessary it is going to occupy my storage. Yes or no?
Yes.
So in order to save that storage from that duplicate data, I can apply the data deduplication. It is going to save the space which is occupied by the duplicate files, right? And data and the shadow copies is a different thing, that you can restore the data. Let me show you practically that how shadow copies work. अभी के लिए ये दिखा देता हूँ, and then later on once we are going to start our classes, I will let you know all these things which we have discussed. Meanwhile, if you have another query, you can ask. Sujit, MCSA and SCCM. Okay, so both these modules are going to be on weekdays. Okay, so MCSA might be, I'm going to start it from Monday at 8 p.m. and then SCCM is going to be start 10 p.m. and the course duration will be for MCSA, it would be around, like there would be a duration of 40 to 50 hours, and same for the SCCM. So you can say approximate it is going to take around 2.5 months, or depending upon your understanding also. जैसे जैसे आपको समझ आता है, based on that only I am going to move forward. ऐसे नहीं है कि मैंने खत्म करा दिया, मेरा काम खत्म, मैंने टॉपिक खत्म किया and that's it. No. So first of all, if you are able to understand the topic, then only I am going to move forward. Okay, so it would be around 2.5 or 3 months, you can say. All right, now shadow copies, right? So it is not, there is no as such another option as a dedicated option available for the shadow copies. So let's say let me create a drive. Let me go to disk management and let's create a 2 GB drive. Two zero four eight. Shrink. All right. So I have this 2 GB drive now, right? Now, if I want to apply the shadow copies, right? First of all, let me create some data here, right? Let me add a folder, a bitmap image, a text document, a compressed zip folder. So let's say I have this much of data available, or let me create a copy also. Okay, let's say I have this much of data available in this E drive, and someone accidentally deleted this data. So how I will be able to get the data back if backup is not configured for this drive? All right, so what I can do, first of all, I have to enable the shadow copy. So I'll right click on this E drive. I'll go to the properties, and then you have the tab called shadow copies. For now, it is not enabled. It is disabled for both C drive and E drive, right? I want to enable for E drive. So I will enable it. Yes. Right. Or even if you want to create a schedule that automatically it is going to generate the shadow copy, right? First of all, either you can create a shadow copy manually by selecting create now, or you don't want to bother this thing, you want to create a schedule, then in that case you will go to the settings, you will go to the schedule, and you are going to define the schedule at what time, at what day you want to configure the, you want to get a shadow copy. All right, now this shadow copy is generated. You can see you can see a shadow copy is generated at 7:44. Right? Same way, if I want to generate one more, I will select create new. So it is going to create one more like this, 7:44 and 7:45. And now say okay. Now someone deleted this data, whole data, permanently, right? Then in order to retrieve this data, I can go back to the drive and I can select shadow copies, and then I can select the time of what time I want to revert. It can be multiple, right? Then I'm going to just select the latest one, and then I will select revert, and then revert now, and then okay, and here is your data. Right? So it is a kind of, you can say, backup for your data. If someone is deleting, or let's say it is accidentally deleted, then in that case, and even the backup is not configured for that drive, so how you can get it back? You can configure the shadow copies in your servers, in your file server. Majorly it is meant for the file servers, right? जहाँ पर data mandatory है, data like it should be highly available for the users, for the clients, right? So hope you got the concept for the shadow copies. Anything else you want to ask? You want some clarity on the topics? You want to add on some of the topics? You want to ask your queries? All good?
हेलो सर।
Yes, Jitendra.
सर मेरा कहने का मतलब है, तो हमको अभी जो ये जो कोर्स है एमसीएसए प्लस सीसीएनए प्लस लिनक्स, ये 3 करना चाहिए सर।
जितेंद्र, मैं वही बोल रहा हूँ, अगर आपकी एक इनिशियली आप इफ यू आर अ फ्रेशर या आप 1-2 साल आपको एक्सपीरियंस है, देन इन दैट केस यू कैन गो फॉर द both of these three, network and then CCNA, sorry, CCNA, Linux and MCSA. ठीक है? बट अब जैसे उनका एग्जांपल दिया कि वो ऑलरेडी 8 साल हो गए हैं, तो उनको अब नेटवर्क पे जाने का कोई फायदा नहीं है, बिकॉज दे आर ऑलरेडी वर्किंग ऑन सर्वर। सो उनके लिए ये वाली प्रोफाइल ज्यादा सही रहेगी कि वो MCSA सीखे और फिर SCCM पे जाएं और फिर क्लाउड पे आ जाएं, है ना? तो अगर आप एक फ्रेशर हो या आपको 1-2 साल का एक्सपीरियंस है, देन यू कैन गो फॉर दीज थ्री. If you are already working as a desktop support or system support, then the good profile is for you is MCSA, SCCM, Intunes, and then Azure or cloud, whatever the cloud you want to learn.
सर मैं सर एचपी प्रोजेक्ट में काम कर चुका हूँ 6 साल, ठीक है। वहां पे रेसिडेंट इंजीनियर था, लैपटॉप डेस्कटॉप सपोर्ट था।
हाँ जी।
उसके बाद अभी इस कंपनी में हो, इसमें मैं 6 से 7 सर्वर कॉल किया हूँ इंस्टॉलेशन के लिए, और उसके बाद टेक्निकल सपोर्ट दे रहा हूँ। हमारा डेस्कटॉप लैपटॉप का जो इंजीनियर है उनको दे रहा हूँ, यानी कि आरसी रोल में कर रहा हूँ। तो अभी मैं वही सोच रहा हूँ कि एमसीएससी की तरफ जाऊं, और ये तीनों प्रोफाइल तो सब जगह बोल रहे हैं, वही मैं आपको बोल रहा था कि जहां भी आप अप्लाई करेंगे कि वही सब बोल रहे हैं।
नहीं, वो पता है, वो ऐसा नहीं बोल रहे कि यू शुड बी अ स्पेशलाइज्ड नेटवर्क इंजीनियर, है ना? अगर आप देखो, फॉर मी आल्सो, इफ लेट्स से आई वांट टू अप्लाई अ जॉब, तो वो थोड़ा बहुत नेटवर्क का तो हमें पता ही होता है ना, कि सर्वर को पिंग कैसे कराना है, कौन सी नेटवर्क रेंज यूज हो रही है, कैसे राउटिंग काम करता है ना? सो इवन ऑल दीज थिंग्स वी आर गोइंग टू कवर इन अवर मॉड्यूल आल्सो। इन MCSA में भी मैं आपको बताऊंगा VPN सर्वर कैसे काम करता है, राउटिंग कैसे होती है ना?
सर
तो मुझे नहीं लगता कि आपको स्पेशलाइज्ड नेटवर्क में जाना चाहिए। सो आई वुड रिकमेंड यू, रादर देन गोइंग टू द नेटवर्क, यू कैन गो फॉर द MCSA, SCCM एंड दिस थिंग यू कैन गो, क्योंकि वहां पर आपकी स्पेशलाइजेशन हो जाएगी, है ना? एंड यू विल बी एबल टू ग्रो इन योर करियर ऑल्सो। ऑलराइट
सर सर सर
या
सर, और एक डाउट था।
यस प्रदीप।
सर,
प्रदीप, आई
आपने
थिंक
अभी
यू
एक
आर,
टॉपिक,
आप कहीं मेरे प्रीवियस बैच में थे?
नो नो,
ओके ओके ओके, प्लीज गो ऑन। या
लेकिन मैं आपका क्लासेस सब पढ़ रहा हूँ, जो प्रीवियस लेक्चर सब है उसका।
ऑलराइट ऑलराइट ऑलराइट, यस प्लीज गो ऑन।
एक एक डाउट था कि हम लोग, आप एक टॉपिक था ना वहाँ पे, जो माइग्रेशन करने के लिए जब अगर 2009 में है या फिर 2016 में है, तो 2021 को जाने के लिए हम लोग का अपग्रेडेशन का प्लानिंग जो बता देते हैं आप। अगर
एग्जैक्टली।
सोच लीजिए हम लोग का कंपनी अगर लिनक्स पे काम कर रहा है
हम्म।
और वो सोच रहा है कि वो विंडोज पे सर्वर पे आने के लिए, तो वो माइग्रेशन हो सकता है क्या?
नहीं, वो सपोर्ट नहीं, फाइल सिस्टम सपोर्ट नहीं करेगा ना। लिनक्स का और विंडोज का फाइल सिस्टम दोनों अलग अलग होता है। सो इट इज नॉट गोइंग टू सपोर्ट। तो आपको उसके अकॉर्डिंग पूरा अपना आर्किटेक्चर डिजाइन करना पड़ेगा।
मतलब पूरा फ्रेश
पूरा
स्टार्टिंग करना
फ्रेश
पड़ेगा सब।
आर्किटेक्चर, एग्जैक्टली एग्जैक्टली, बिकॉज फाइल सिस्टम
लेकिन
इज
कुछ
टोटली डिफरेंट।
मैं खाली एडीडीएस का बोल रहा हूँ, खाली एडीडीएस कर सकते हैं क्या?
नहीं, इट इज नॉट पॉसिबल एट ऑल।
एक्चुअली हम लोग कर रहे हैं, उसका हो रहा है।
हाउ यू आर डूइंग इट, लाइक आपने लिनक्स के अंदर डोमेन कंट्रोलर बनाया है?
हाँ, उसको माइग्रेशन चल रहा है, लेकिन हो रहा है सक्सेस, कुछ हद तक हो चुका है। एक्चुअली मैं उसमें नहीं हूँ, लेकिन मैं थोड़ा थोड़ा सीख रहा हूँ, थोड़ा बहुत कर रहे हैं वो लोग।
नहीं, इट वुड बी, डेफिनेटली इट कैन नॉट बी द डोमेन सर्विसेज।
अ,
थोड़ा चेक करो,
वो
कुछ
तो
और सर्विसेज हो सकता है, आईएएस हो सकता है, वेब डीएनएस सर्वर हो सकता है। इट कैन बी, ठीक है, बट विंडोज एक्टिव डायरेक्टरी इट कांट बी पॉसिबल।
मैं नेक्स्ट बैच में, मतलब नेक्स्ट क्लास में आपको बताऊंगा एक्चुअली
फॉर
कैसे
श्योर,
कर रहे
पक्का
हैं।
पक्का, जब क्लास में आते हो मुझे इवन मुझे बताना अगर कुछ ऐसा नया है, कुछ यूज कर रहे हैं, कोई टूल ऐसा है। बट आई एम
हाँ
डैम श्योर 99%, 99.9% इट इज नॉट पॉसिबल। बट हाउ दे आर डूइंग इट, जस्ट इवन डू लेट मी नो ऑल्सो, अगर ये ऐसा हो रहा है तो।
हाँ, एक्चुअली मैं मैनेजर जो है वो एक्चुअली उस पे ही एक्सपेरिमेंट करके कर रहे हैं। वो एक्चुअली सक्सीड
एग्जैक्टली।
भी हो चुके हैं, वो बोले थे।
नहीं, एक बार आप चेक करना कि क्या वो डोमेन सर्विसेज से रिलेटेड है या कुछ और है। ओके।
या आई विल कंफर्म।
या
ओके।
श्योर श्योर, नो प्रॉब्लम। Anything else you want the clarity from me or from networkings?
सर ब्रिजेश बोल रहा हूँ, गुड इवनिंग।
Yeah, hi Brijesh.
सर मैं ये कह रहा हूँ, ये एमसीएसए बैच है, तो आपने जो ये सीसीएम का ये जो टॉपिक है सर, इसमें आप कवर करने जा रहे हो क्या?
नहीं, it is a different course. It is a different,
अच्छा।
ये बेसिकली कॉम्बो बनाया है हमने। जो सिस्टम एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर्स हैं, जो डेस्कटॉप सपोर्ट इंजीनियर्स हैं, उनके लिए हमने ये कॉम्बो बनाया है कि वो एक प्रॉपर कोर्स करके, राइट, एक प्रॉपर गाइडलाइन के थ्रू दे कैन गेट द हाइक इन देयर करियर।
ये आठ से कब ये एमसीएसए का बैच जो है, आठ से कब कितने घंटे का है सर?
एक से 1.5 घंटा, 1.5 आवर।
अच्छा, तो उसके बाद जस्ट आप एससीसीएम का लेंगे?
ऐसा हो सकता है, लेट्स से अभी मेरा एससीसीएम एक नया बैच शुरू हो रहा है, मेरे जो प्रीवियस एमसीएसए क्लासेस चल रही हैं उनके लिए। इफ लेट्स से आपको एक साथ नहीं करना, तो पहले जस्ट कंप्लीट एमसीएसए एंड देन यू कैन जॉइन द एससीसीएम बैच। ये तो चलते ही रहेंगे, है ना।
वही मैं पूछ रहा हूँ सर कि क्योंकि
हाँ, एक साथ
मैं
प्रेशर
एक
मैं भी नहीं चाहता आप
सीक्वेंस
लोगों
में
को प्रेशर आए, क्योंकि एक साथ मे बी
सीक्वेंस
यू विल
में
गेट
सीक्वेंस
कंफ्यूज।
में जाऊँ सर। तो
हाँ,
मेरे को सर
सीक्वेंस।
क्लाउड में जाना है, जैसे कि मैं एमसीएस से किया आपसे,
हम्म।
फिर आपका एससीसीएम बैच लिया, फिर उसके बाद मुझे क्या है, एज्योर।
एज्योर या फिर एडब्ल्यूएस, मैं तो बीइंग अ एज्योर एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर, बीइंग अ एज्योर सर्टिफाइड इंजीनियर, आई वुड रिकमेंड एज्योर ओनली। बट अगर आपका इंटरेस्ट बनता है एडब्ल्यूएस में, तो यू कैन एनरोल फॉर एडब्ल्यूएस आल्सो।
अच्छा,
टेक्नोलॉजी सेम
एमसीएस
है।
से
हाँ।
एमसीएस से एससीसीएम देन क्लाउड।
हाँ, देन क्लाउड।
सर इंट्यून भी बोला आपने कि इंट्यून करके फिर क्लाउड पे जाना होगा?
देखो, क्लाउड एक अलग, बिल्कुल ही अलग हो गया, है ना।
हम्म।
तो अभी के लिए गो फॉर एमसीएस से एससीसीएम एंड इंट्यून्स। ठीक है, मतलब आप अपने आने वाले 6 से 7 मंथ्स के लिए आपके ये प्लान करके रखो कि आपको ये तीनों चारों कोर्सेज करने ही करने हैं इन ऑर्डर टू ग्रो। ठीक है, क्योंकि आने वाला
ओके।
टेक्नोलॉजी सारी इंट्यून से रिलेटेड है, आने क्योंकि कंपनी अभी धीरे धीरे इंट्यून में मूव हो रही है। सो आई जस्ट वांट टू प्रिपेयर कि आप लोग अभी से प्रिपेयर हो जाओ और आप लोग अपना इंटरव्यू देना शुरू कर दो।
ओके।
ठीक है ना, तो अपने 5-6 महीने का आप ये टारगेट लेके चलो, दैट यू हैव टू कंप्लीट दिस कोर्सेज, यू हैव टू क्लियर ऑल द कंसेप्ट्स, और जितने ये मेरे कोर्सेज हैं, इनसे रिलेटेड जितने भी इंटरव्यू क्वेश्चंस हैं, और बेस्ड ऑन माय एक्सपीरियंस, बेस्ड ऑन द एक्सपीरियंस आई हैव फेस्ड इन द रियल टाइम इंटरव्यू, सो उस चीजों के लिए आई एम गोइंग टू गाइड यू, कैसे काम होता है,
सर
कैसे हुआ। आई
एक
विल।
जगह मैंने इंटरव्यू दिया था सर, तो वहाँ पे ये कभी कभी ये इंटरव्यूअर पूछते हैं कि हैव यू एवर बॉट एनी हार्डवेयर रिलेटेड टू सर्वर, जैसे सर्वर को पूछते हैं, कभी आपने बाई किया है हार्डवेयर, क्या उसके कॉन्फ़िगरेशन ये सब एट ऑल ये सब पूछते हैं सर।
हाँ हम तो
इसके बारे में
अवेलेबल।
जस्ट आइडिया आप दे देते
हाँ
तो
हाँ
थोड़ा
बताऊंगा।
बेसिक, मतलब 5 से
बहुत
10
सारे
मिनट
देखो,
इसके
अब जैसे एक एग्जांपल दे रहे थे, वो पावर एज पे काम किया उन्होंने, डेल का सब वो ही है सर्वर है पावर एज। ऐसे ही एचपी का भी आता है, राइट। तो इट डिपेंड्स कि आप कौन सा सर्वर प्रोक्योर कर रहे हो। तो वो वैसे तो इन एवरी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन देयर इज अ डिफरेंट प्रोक्योरमेंट टीम जो आपके प्रोक्योरमेंट पे ही काम करता है। जो बस आपने बता दिया कि मुझे इतना जीबी रैम चाहिए, मुझे इतना जीबी हार्ड डिस्क चाहिए, मुझे इतना प्रोसेसर चाहिए, राइट, या जो भी आपको कस्टमाइजेशन करानी है, आप अपनी रिक्वायरमेंट दे दोगे तो प्रोक्योरमेंट टीम काम करती है, कनेक्ट करती है मल्टीपल वेंडर्स के साथ, मल्टीपल थर्ड पार्टी वेंडर्स के साथ, जो अपनी कोटेशन शेयर करते हैं कि if you want to go for this much of compute power, then I'm going to charge this much amount and all, and I'm going to take 30 days, क्योंकि ये सारे जो है ये बाहर से ताइवान से आता है, राइट। तो ऐसा नहीं है कि हैंडी पड़ा ही है डेल के पास या फिर एचपी के पास। सो मैंने जितना देखा है, और मैं भी था प्रिक्योरमेंट टीम में, आई यूज्ड टू डू दिस थिंग इन माय प्रीवियस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन। तो होता था वहां पर ऐसे, you have to just submit your query to your team, to your procurement team, and then that procurement team will start following up with the vendors.
ओके सर।
Okay, yeah,
ओके सर, थैंक यू सर।
no problem. 8 p.m. Sujit, not 8 a.m. It would be from coming Monday, 8 p.m. We are going to have our first class on Monday. Yeah. So over there, I will let you know. First of all, initially, how to build the lab, right? In order to configure all these things, right? First of all, you should be aware of how to configure the lab, right? So I'll be helping you out with multiple tools. So based on your interest, you can install either Hyper-V or VMware. But I would recommend you to work on both the tools so that you can mention in your CV that you have worked on Hyper-V as well as on VMware. Okay, because sometimes in the job profile, it is mentioned that you have to be very handy with the VMware or Hyper-V. So you can mention in your CV that you have already the experience of these hypervisors. All right, so I think we are good for today. And meanwhile, if you want to get any clarity, you can connect with the networking team. They will help you out with the timings and all other part. And I'll be seeing you on coming Monday.
कल क्लास नहीं रहेगा ना सर?
No, it would
ओके
be from Monday itself. All right.
ओके सर।
All right.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. It was very informative session. Okay, so guys, classes will be Monday to Friday, 8 p.m. We are taking day one class from coming Monday. So you can connect WhatsApp for admission and every queries, okay, to the networking team. Okay, so I'm ending the session. Okay, I hope all things were good.
Just
Okay.
one more thing, Sachin. Let me help you out with one more thing as well, guys. Like how you will be able to get all the PPTs and the study material. All right. So I'm going to create a classroom on Google, right? So on the Google Classroom itself, you can join it. And over there, I'm going to create the batch like this. You can see MCSA November, right? So onto this, I'm going to upload all the interview questions, your assignments, and then the study material, a book also, a PDF book of MCSA, and all these things I'm going to upload, and you will be having the rights to download all these things. All right. Yeah, that's it from me, Sachin. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you all. Good night. See you on Monday. Bye bye.
गुड नाइट सर।